Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the 22nd part of this series where we are building a personal dashboard app using Angular. In this video, we're going to be creating the Manage Bookmarks view. Alright then, let's get started. First of all, let's create a button that will link to that view. So let's go back here and let's actually close the add bookmark component files, and let's close this and let's just close this. Alright, so we have a clean workspace, and then I'm going to go to the bookmarks view, so the bookmarks component template. Okay, and then let's go to the buttons container div, and inside there we have the add button. Let's just copy this add button and let's paste it inside there. Alright, and let's change this. Alright, and let's go here and let's change the text to manage. Okay, let's save that and go back to the application. And now we have this. Cool. And now let's go and change the icon here to settings. Okay. Let's save that and go back to the application. Cool. Alright. Let's actually change this to material icons. So not the outline version, but the normal version. Okay, let's save that and go back to the application. And there we go. That's cool. And now what we can do is we can go here and change this class to manage btn. And now we can actually save this and go to the style sheet. And we can go here and do manage btn I. And now we can actually change the positioning a little bit of the icon. So let's save this actually and let's go back to the application. Okay, and here we see that there's no space in between the icon and the text. So let's first of all put margin right, and let's try 7 pixels. Alright, let's save that and go back to the application. Okay, and that looks alright. Let's change it to 8 pixels maybe. Save that, go back to the application. Okay, cool. Alright, so I think that looks pretty good. And what we could also do is maybe drop the opacity of the icon just a little bit. So maybe opacity 0.9. Let's save that and go back to the application. Alright, so I think that looks pretty good. And what we can now do is we can now go back to the application, go to the terminal, and we can create the manage bookmarks component. And that will be the component for this view here. So let's go here and let's do ng generate component. And let's call this manage bookmarks. Okay. Alright, and if we look here, we have this new folder called Manage Bookmarks, and inside there we have the template. Alright, so now let's go to the routing module, and let's set up the route for this. So let's do bookmarks, if we do path, bookmarks / manage, and the component will be the manage bookmarks component. Okay, let's save that now, and let's go back to the application. Okay, and let's actually go to the address bar and do /manage. Okay, and if we look here, we can see that the manage bookmarks component is working. Okay, cool. So let's go back to the bookmarks view and let's actually set up the link on that button there. So if we go back to the bookmarks view component template, let's go to the router link and let's change this to manage. Okay, let's save that and go back to the application. And let's go here and click on that. Okay, cool, and we're now sent to the right URL, and if we look here, we see that the component is working. Cool. Alright, so let's go back to the code here, and let's go and let's actually close this for now. Let's close this and let's close that, and let's close this, and let's just go to the manage bookmarks.component.html. And let's work on this. So let's get rid of this and let's create a div. And this div will have the class of manage bookmarks wrapper. Okay, and inside there we're going to have a div which has the class of sidebar. Okay, and that's going to be for that sidebar. And we're then also going to have a content section. And that content section will be this area here on the right. So I'm going to create a div which has the class of content. Okay, cool. Alright, so let's now go and save this, and let's go to the style sheet, and let's go and okay, and let's style the manage bookmarks wrapper, and let's set the height to 100%, and okay, and let's actually go here and let's just start the sidebar. Okay, and for now let's just give us a background color of blue. Okay, and let's give the content section the background color of white. Okay, let's save this and go back to the application, and we can't see anything, right? So first of all, let's go to the manage bookmarks wrapper, and let's make this display flex. Okay, so then the sidebar and the content will be flex children of this flex box here. So let's save that and let's go back to the application. Okay, still can't see anything. Let's go here and let's set the height to 100%, and let's set the width to 220 pixels. Okay, let's save that, and let's go back to the application, and now we see this sidebar. Cool. Let's now go and work on the content. So let's go here and let's make sure that this will grow to take up all of the remaining free space. So flex grow 1, save that, go back to the application. Cool. All right, so that's pretty cool. And if we now go back to the code here, let's actually let's use the container class to make sure that this has a maximum width and is centered, right? So let's go here and let's add the container class here. Let's save that and go back to the application. And there we go. Cool. So we're pretty close to what we have here. Let's just make some changes. First of all, let's put some border radius on the edges of this UI. So for this, we will have to actually put the border radius on the top left and the bottom left of the sidebar, and then the top right and the bottom right of the content. So if we go here, what we can do is we can go here. All right, so let's go to the sidebar and let's do border dash top dash left radius, and let's set that to 5 pixels, and let's do the same thing for the bottom left. Okay, let's save that and go back to the application. Cool, and now we see that here we have these rounded edges. Okay, cool, and we've kept these edges here sharp so that it is connecting nicely to this section here. All right, so now we can actually round the edges on the top right and the bottom right of this content section here. So let's go here and let's go and do border dash top dash right radius 5 pixels, and let's do the same thing for the bottom right. Save that, go back to the application, and now that's working as well. Cool. Alright, so now let's go and set the actual proper background colors for these. For this section here, we'll actually be using the class has white blurred background. I think that's what it's called. Save that, go back to the application. Oh, and we actually have to go here and get rid of the white background here. Save that, go back to the application. Okay, so that's the wrong name of the class. Let's go back here. Let's look at the add bookmark template. Has blurred white BG. That's it. Has blurred white BG. Alright, save that, go back to the application, and now we have that there. Cool. Oh, sorry, this isn't on here. Alright, so here we actually have to not put it on the manage bookmarks wrapper div. We actually have to put it only on the content. Sorry about that. Has blurred white BG. Alright, save that, and let's go back to the application. And there we go. Cool. Alright, so let's go back to the code here. And let's go and change the color of the sidebar. Let's change this to RGBA black 0.7. Save that, and let's go back to the application. Cool. Alright, so now we have something like this, but let's actually add a blurred background. So let's do a backdrop filter on this. So let's do backdrop filter, blur, Okay, and let's try 5 pixels. Let's save that. Let's go back to the application. Okay, let's maybe actually do 8 pixels. Okay, save that, and let's go back to the application. Cool. All right, so now we can actually start working on this text here and these sidebar items. So let's go back to the code here, and let's go here, and let's create a paragraph tag, and let's say your bookmarks. Okay, let's give this the class of sidebar heading. Save that, let's go back to the application. Okay, and now we can see it here. So let's go and style this. Let's go back here, let's go to the style sheet, and let's go here and let's style the sidebar heading. And let's give this a color of RGBA white 0.8. Save that, let's go back to the application. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's change the font weight to bold. Save that, let's go back to the application. Okay. Okay, let's maybe just change this to 600. Save that, let's go back to the application. Okay, cool. And okay, let's change the font size here to 20 pixels. Save that, let's go back to the application. Alright, cool. Cool, alright, so let's actually give this a padding. Let's go and give this padding of 35 pixels. Save that, let's go back to the application. Alright, so that's a little bit too much. Let's give this a padding of 25 pixels. Save that, let's go back to the application. Cool, alright. So I think that looks pretty similar to what we have here. Alright. Let's now work on the sidebar items. So let's go to the template here, and let's go here. Okay, and let's create a div called which has the class of sidebar items. And inside there we're going to have a tags which have class of sidebar item. Okay, and let's just put the text here as sidebar item 1. Okay, and let's create a few of these. So 2 and 3. Okay, let's save that and let's go back to the application. And now we see them all like that. And cool. All right, so those are those items there. Let's go and style them now. So let's go back to the code. Let's go to the style sheet, and let's first of all style the sidebar items, and let's give this a display of flex. And let's save that now, and go back to the application. And we actually have to change the flex direction because we want them to be in flex direction column. All right, save that, go back to the application, and there we go. Cool. Let's actually change the color of these. So let's go and style sidebar item, and let's change the color to RGBA white 0.78. Okay, save that, let's go back to the application. Alright, cool. And let's give this some padding. So let's do 25 pixels. Let's save that and let's go back to the application. Okay, so 25 pixels is good because it's the same padding as we have here. This heading and these sidebar items will be aligned. However, there's too much padding on the top and the bottom of these items because there's too much space here in between these items now, right? So if we go back to the code here, we can actually just say 5 pixels, 25 pixels, so that there'll be 5 pixels on the top and bottom and 25 pixels on the left and right. So let's save that and let's go back to the application. And there we go. Cool. All right, so that looks a lot better. What we can now do is we can now go and work on this content section, right? So here we can work on this section here, and yeah, so let's go and work on this section here. All right, so let's go and create a component for that. So let's go back to the code, and let's go to a terminal, and let's do ng generate component, and then we could call this edit bookmark. Okay, press enter. and then that will create an edit bookmark component here. Okay, and let's go to the template here, and we see this. All right, let's actually go to the routing module and let's set up the route for this. So for this, we want to have this, we want the path for this to be bookmarks / manage / ID. Okay, and the component for this, we want to be the edit bookmark component. Okay, let's put a comma there. All right, cool. All right, so let's save that now, and let's go back to the application, and let's go to /bookmarks / manage, and let's just type in an ID, a value for the ID, so maybe A, and press enter. Okay, and now we're sent to the edit bookmark component. All right, cool. Now the problem with this is we actually want the edit bookmark component to be shown here, right, in the content section of the manage bookmark component. And to do that, what we have to do is we need to actually make this root object a child of this root object, and then we can use the router outlet tag inside our manage bookmarks component to show that component. All right, so let's actually cut this. Let's grab this root object and let's cut it. Okay, and let's get rid of that, and there we go. And now let's go to the bookmark / manage root. Let's go here and let's set children, and this will be an array. Okay, and then let's paste in this root here. All right, now let's change the path here, because the path, this section of the path is up here, right? So we don't need this here. So it's just going to be :ID. All right, let's save that now, and let's go back to the application. Okay, and there we go. So we're actually at /bookmarks / manage / A, and we've been sent to the manage bookmarks component. Cool. All right, so that's good. Now we actually want to show that here, right? Cool. All right, so now we actually want to show the edit bookmark component here. So let's go back to the code here. Let's go to the manage bookmarks component template, and let's go to the content div, and inside it we can do router -outlet. Okay, let's save that and go back to the application, and now, cool, and now we see edit bookmark works. Cool. All right, so let's now go to the cool. All right, so now let's go back to the edit bookmark component template, and let's work on this. All right, so first of all we want to create a div, and this will have the class of edit bookmark wrapper. Okay, and inside here we want to have a h2 tag which has the class of isBold. Okay, that's because if you look here we have this kind of heading here, so that's what this will be. And for now we can just set this to bookmark name. Okay, and then we want to create that form, right? This form here. So this form will be very similar to the add bookmark form. So let's go to the add bookmark template, and let's go and grab this form and just copy it, close this, and paste it in here. All right, and yeah, let's save that now, and let's go back to the application. Cool. All right, so we've made a lot of progress here. We now see this, and it's starting to look a little bit like this. Let's just make a few changes. Let's go and change the text of this to save instead of create bookmark. Let's change this to save. There we go. And let's save that and go back to the application. Cool. All right, so now let's actually add some padding. So let's go here and let's go to the style sheet, and let's go here and let's work on the edit bookmark wrapper, and let's give this padding of 25 pixels. Okay, save that, and let's go back to the application, and there we go. Cool. So that looks pretty good. Cool. All right, let's actually just try 35 pixels. Save that, go back. Cool. All right, so there's a little bit more space in between. Cool. All right, so cool. All right, so that's pretty good. The next thing we could do is we could check how this works on overflow. So when there's an overflow, it's actually just showing the overflow outside there, which is no good. So we could put the overflow on the edit bookmark wrapper, or we could go here and do it on content. So let's go here, and we should just be able to do overflow auto. Save that, go back to the application, and now we have the scroll bar. Cool. All right, so that's pretty nice. The next thing we could do is we could actually make these fields be populated with the data of the bookmark, which has the ID specified in the root parameters, right? So let's go back to the edit bookmark component, and let's go to the component class, and let's go to the constructor, and let's inject the bookmark service. Okay, and let's create a field here called bookmark, and it'll be of type bookmark. There we go. Let's go to the ng on init, and we actually have to go here and we have to inject the activated root. So root activated root, like that. And then here we can actually subscribe to the param changes. So this dot root dot param map dot subscribe, and here we get the param map. That's going to be of type param map. And then here we can do const bookmark ID is equal to param map dot get ID. Okay, and that's because if we go to the routing module, we see that we have called this ID here, right? ID. So if we close this and go back here, then what we can do is we can do this dot bookmark is equal to this dot bookmark service dot get bookmark, and then pass in the bookmark ID. Okay, so let's save this now, and let's now go to the template, and we now have to bind these form fields to the bookmark field. So let's go to the ng model here. Let's use property binding and set this equal to bookmark dot name, and let's go to the URL field and let's bind the ng model to the bookmark dot URL. Okay, cool. All right, so let's save this now. Go back to the application, and let's go to the console. And here we'll see that it can't read property name of undefined. The reason for that is because we are at /bookmark/manage/a, right? So there is no bookmark which has the ID of a, right? So let's go and let's actually go and work on the sidebar, and let's actually load in the bookmarks, and let's make these clickable so that they actually navigate to the correct route based on the ID of that bookmark. So then okay, so let's go back here, and one thing I actually noticed is that we actually have to fix the overflow problem here, right? So let's go to the manage bookmark component, and let's fix the sidebar overflow problem by going to the style sheet, going to the sidebar class, and here you can do overflow auto. Okay, save that, go back to the application, and there we go. Cool. All right, so the next thing we can do is we can go to the component class for the manage bookmarks component, and we can load in the bookmarks. So let's create a field called bookmarks, and this will be of type bookmark array, and then we can go to the constructor and we can inject the bookmark service. Okay, then we can go to ng on init, and we can do this dot bookmarks is equal to this dot bookmark service dot get bookmarks. Cool. All right, let's save this, and now we can go back to the template, and now we have access to the bookmarks array. So what we can do is we can go to the sidebar items here, and we can just leave one of them here, and we can use ng4 on this sidebar item. So here we can do ng4 is equal to let bookmark of bookmarks. Okay, let's save that and go back to the application. Okay, and here we see 3 sidebar items. All right, let's now go and set the text here to the bookmark name, so bookmark.name. Okay, let's save that and let's go back to the application, and there we go. So now we actually have the bookmark names being loaded in there. That's good. Now let's actually make these links. So let's actually set the router link here and this will be using property binding. So here we can put in an array of commands, and the command will be bookmark.id. Alright, so if we save that and go back to the application and go here, we can now see that these are clickable. And if we click on this one here, then we are sent to /bookmarks/manage/this ID here. Cool. Alright. And if we look here, we actually see the data being populated here. That's really cool. Okay, and let's try and click on Google, and there we go. Let's try and click on YouTube, and there we go. So it's actually changing it to the currently selected bookmark. Cool. All right, that's looking really good. Let's now go and quickly work on the styling here to style the hover state and the selected state. Okay. However, before we do that, let's quickly go and change this so that it is the name of the currently selected bookmark. All right, so let's go here and let's go to the edit bookmark template, and let's just go to the bookmark name, get rid of that, and let's use string interpolation to put in the bookmark name. So bookmark.name. Save that, go back to the application, and okay, and here we see that there isn't anything being shown, and that's because we are at an ID that no longer exists, right? Because we've reloaded the as the application has reloaded, right? So if we click on this one, now we see it. Okay, cool. And one quick thing we can do is if we just reload the page here, now we see that that isn't showing anymore. And if we go to the console, we see the error because this ID no longer exists. What we can do here is we can actually just prevent this from happening by doing an ngIf. So we can wrap all of this content in an ngIf. So let's go here and let's just create an ng container. All right, so that we can put an ngIf on this. So ngIf bookmark. Okay, so let's actually cut this and let's move it to the end here. Okay, and let's just format the document there, and let's do that. All right, so now let's save that and go back to the application, and now we can't see anything. Cool. We could also add an error message, so something like bookmark not found. Okay, and then we can do an ngIf on this, ngIf not bookmark. Save that, go back to the application. There we go. Cool. Cool. All right, so now let's go and work on the selected state and the hover state of these sidebar items. So let's go back. Cool. All right, so let's close this and let's go back to the code. Okay, and let's close the edit bookmark files just to clean up the workspace here, so that we're just left with the manage bookmark files here. And actually, we don't need the component class anymore. It's just the template and the style and the styles. So let's go to the style sheet and let's work on the hover state of the sidebar item. All right, but first, if we look here, these look a little bit small. So I think we can maybe increase the font size. So let's do font size 18 pixels. Save that, go back to the application. Cool, that looks a little bit better. Let's now go here and let's do and hover. All right, so let's maybe change the color here to RGBA white 0.85. Save that, go back to the application. Okay, cool, so that's making a little bit of a difference there. Cool, all right, so now let's work on the selected state. So let's go, first of all, let's go to the template here. And we can set a router link active. So let's do router link active. And here let's put the class that we want to be applied when the router link is active. So I guess we could do selected, save that, and let's go to the style sheet. And now we can do and.selected. And what we can do is we can change the color here to RGBA white 0.95. Save that, go back to the application, and let's go to Google, and now it's staying at that RGBA white 0.95 text color, okay? Cool, all right, that's looking pretty good. All right, so the next thing we can do is we could add that line, right? So we can add this line here when it's selected. And the way that we're going to do this is we're going to be doing this with a pseudo element. So let's go here and let's start working on dot sidebar item before. Okay, let's set the content here, and let's set position to absolute, and let's set top 0 and left 0. Okay, and then let's set the height to 100% and the width to about 4 pixels. Okay, so we want it to be 100% of the sidebar item height, and we want it to be about 4 pixels. All right, so let's save that and go back to the application, and we won't be able to see anything because there's no background. So let's set the background color to RGBA white 0.8. Okay, save that, go back to the application, and now we can see that it's here, right? Cool. All right, so now to make them relative to the sidebar item, we can now position relative on the sidebar item here. So position relative. Save that, go back to the application, and there we go. Cool. All right, so that's working pretty good. Let's maybe decrease the width though. The width is a little bit too much, so 3 pixels maybe. All right, let's go and try 2 pixels. Save that, go back to the application. All right, okay, so I think that looks a little bit better. The next thing we can do is we can actually only show this when there is the selected class on the sidebar item. All right, okay, so now what we want to do is we want to actually only show the sidebar item in the selected state, right? So only when the selected class is on the sidebar item. So what we want to do is we want to hide this by default. So let's go here and let's say hide by default, and let's do opacity 0. Okay, and let's go here and let's do dot sidebar item dot selected. Before. Okay, and let's set opacity to 1. Okay, save that and let's go back to the application. Okay, and now let's click on one of these, and there we go. So now we see it only when the sidebar item is selected. Cool. All right, so now what we can do is we can actually add a transition. So if we go here, we could do transition opacity transition 0.2 seconds. Okay, save that, go back to the application. Cool, so now it's fading in. Now let's go here and let's make it a little bit more interesting by adding a transform. So let's do transform scale Y 0. Okay, let's save that and go back to the application. Oh, and then here we actually have to do transform scale Y 1. Okay, save that, go back to the application, and there we go. Cool. So now it's actually scaling up in the y-axis and going to opacity 1 when it's selected, and it's transitioning pretty nicely. And it's transitioning nicely. Okay, cool. Cool. All right, so I think the next thing we can do is we can actually work on implementing the save functionality, right? So if we go back to the code here, let's actually close the manage bookmark component style sheet, and I think we can even close this. All right, so let's go to the edit bookmark component template, and let's actually go to the component class. All right, so let's go and create the onFormSubmit method that we are using here. So let's go to the component class, let's create the form submit method, and we're going to take in the form object that's going to be of type ngForm. All right, so here, okay, and so on form submit, we want to update the bookmark. So here, let's do this .bookmark service dot update bookmark, and this is going to take in the ID. So this .bookmark .id, and then it's going to take in updated fields, and for this we can do form.value. Okay, so let's save this and let's go back to the application and let's click on Wikipedia. Let's try and update the URL. Let's change this from .org to .com. All right, and let's save this. Okay, and if we go to the console, there are no errors. That's good. And if we go and change the root, and then we go back to Wikipedia, it's still .com. That's pretty good. Cool. All right, so that's pretty good. Let's try and change the name to testing. Okay, let's click save. Okay, cool. All right, so that's working pretty nicely. Let's go to the bookmarks view, and here we see testing. Cool. All right, and all right, so that seems to be working, but we don't see the Wikipedia favicon. So let's go and see why that is. If we go here and inspect this and look at the image, it's saying that the source is undefined/favicon.ico. Okay, so why is that? Let's go back here, and if we go to the template here, the form value name URL, type URL. Ah, okay, I think I know why this is happening. Alright, so the reason that this is happening is because when we update the bookmark, we're passing in form.value. And if we look at what form.value is, console.log form.value, and if we save this and go back to the application, and let's just make it a bit smaller, go to manage, and go to Wikipedia, and if we update the URL, and click save, go to the console, then here we see that the form.value is this object which has the name and the URL, and the value of the URL is a string, and we need it as a URL object. So instead of doing it this way, let's do it a little bit of a different way, and let's grab the name and the URL from the form.value object. Okay, and then what we have to do is instead of passing in form.value for the updated fields, here we can pass in an object. Okay, and then this object will have the name and the URL. Okay, and the URL here will be a new URL, and here we can pass in the URL string from the form value. Okay, cool. All right, let's save this now and let's go and see if this works. Let's go back to the application. All right, let's close this and let's go to Google, and let's go and let's just go here and let's just change this. Alright, so let's just change this to wikipedia.com. Alright, let's click save, and then I'm going to go to the bookmarks view, and here we see that we have the Wikipedia favicon and Google there. Cool. Alright, so that actually worked. Let's go manage, let's go here, and let's change this to wikipedia.org, and let's change the name here to Wikipedia, then I put in brackets 2 because we have that on there. Alright, let's click save, and cool, that's updated. Let's now go to the bookmarks view, and we have the Wikipedia favicon there. That's good. Cool. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Cool. Alright. Let's go to YouTube, and let's change this to Google, and let's change the URL to google.com. Let's press enter. Okay, that's updated, and let's go to the bookmarks view. Cool, and that seems to be working as well. Cool. All right, so now let's go here. And I guess the next thing we could do is we could create a delete button to delete bookmarks. So let's go to the edit bookmark component class, and let's just quickly create a delete method. And here we can do this.bookmark service.delete bookmark and pass in this.bookmark.id. Okay. So let's save that now, and let's go back to the application. And let's go on to this one. And oh, I forgot to actually add the delete button. So let's go and do that. Let's go to the buttons container. Let's create another button. I'm just going to copy this one and paste it. All right, so I've got this one here. I'm going to change this to delete, and I'm going to give this the type of button, as I don't want it to be a submit button. So I'm going to give it type of button, and I'm going to remove the align end class, as I want it to be next to the cancel button, not the save button. Okay, I'm going to now save this, go back to the application, and if I click here, then it's over here. Cool. Now let's actually set up the click event. So on click, we want to call the delete method. Okay, let's save that, and let's go back to the application. And let's click on this one, and let's click delete. Cool. All right, so that did seem to work because we can't see the bookmark in the sidebar anymore. Okay, cool. So the next thing we can do is we can actually navigate away from this root, right? So if we do this dot router, and first of all we actually have to go here and inject the router. I'm actually just going to put this onto multiple lines just to so it's more readable. All right, and then I'm going to inject the router. So private router is of type router. Okay, and then I can go down here. Okay, and then here I can do this dot router dot navigate like that. Okay, and then here I'm going to pass in the array of commands, and then I'm going to pass in dot slash. Okay, and let's save that now and go back to the application. And if we go here and click on delete, it actually sends us to localhost 4200. So let's actually go and fix that. The reason for that is because here we're using a relative root, but we haven't provided a starting point for this root command to be relative to. So if we go here, we can go and pass in the extras, and here we can do relative to and then the root object. So here what we can do is we can go and see here that we've already injected the root, right? So we can go here and do this.root. Cool. All right, let's save that, go back to the application. Let's go to the bookmarks. Okay, and let's go to the bookmarks view. Let's go to manage. Let's go to Google. Okay, and then here we can click on delete. Cool. All right, so it's actually sent us to the correct route. Cool. All right, let's go here, click on delete, and that works, and that works as well. And if we go to the bookmarks view, we see that there are no tiles here. There are no bookmark tiles as we have deleted all of the bookmarks. Cool. All right, so that seems to be working pretty well. Cool. All right, so the next thing we can do is we can actually go and try and add a bookmark. And let's go here and let's say example. And let's type in here http example.com. Press enter. And here we have example. However, we can't actually see the favicon. The reason for this is because if we go to example.com/favicon.ico, here we see that it doesn't actually return us a favicon. It just shows us this page, right? And we can even see in the browser that the favicon is this generic image here, right? Icon here, right? And if we go here and we go in the console, we should see an error that says failed to load resource. The server responded with a status of 404 not found, right? And that is for the favicon.ico. example.com/favicon.ico. All right. So what we have to do is we actually have to provide a fallback. For when we're in this situation. So let's close this and let's go and work on that. So for now, we can actually close the edit bookmark files, and let's go to the bookmark tile component template, and here we see we have the tile icon and the image inside there. All right, so this. All right, so here what we could do is we can actually listen to the error event. Okay, so let's listen to that. Okay, and actually let's just quickly go to the component class and let's create a new property, which will be a boolean, and let's call it favicon error. All right, let's save that and go back to the template. And what we can do here is we can actually do favicon error is equal to true. Okay, okay, so let's save that now. And now what we can do is we can actually create another tile icon, class tile icon, and inside here we can just put the letter, the first letter of the bookmark name, right? So what we could do here is we could do string interpolation and do bookmark.name 0. Okay, so and then to get the first character we can do square brackets and then do 0. Okay, so let's go here and let's do ngF favicon error. Okay, okay, so now that will only show when there is a favicon error. All right, let's save that and go back to the application. Let's go and create a new bookmark. Let's set the URL as example.com. And there we go. We're having a little bit of an issue here because I'm actually showing them both. So let's put ngIf on this one as well. ngIf not favicon error. Okay, cool. All right, so let's save this and go back to the application. Let's try that again. http example.com. Okay, cool. All right, so it's very hard to see, but there is actually an E there. So the next thing we can do is we can actually add a background to the tile icon. So if we go here, let's actually go to the style sheet and let's go to the tile icon class and let's just give this a background. Let's just give it a background of white. Save that, go back to the application. Okay, and now we see that they all have this white background, but we'll fix that in just a minute. Let's just quickly test this out. Let's do example http example.com. Okay, cool. All right, so now we can see that there is this E showing up there. Okay, cool. So the next thing to do is let's actually make this a capital. Okay, so even if the first character is lowercase, let's make this a capital. Okay, so let's go here and let's go to the template. Okay, and we can do this using the toUpperCase function, which is available on strings. All right, so let's do bookmark.name.toUpperCase, and that will return the string in uppercase, and then we'll get the first character like that. All right, so let's save that and go back to the application, and let's go and click add, and let's try this with a lowercase e at the start of the name, and then the URL will be http example.com. Cool. All right, and now we see a uppercase E there. Cool. All right, so now the next thing we can do is we can actually prevent the white background from showing on when the favicon can be loaded, right? Because we don't actually see the white background when we have the favicons here, right? So let's go back to the code and let's go to the style sheet and let's actually get rid of this background white, and let's instead start styling dot tile icon and then dot fallback. Okay, so now we'll be styling the elements that have the class of tile icon and fallback. So this selector will select the elements that have the class of title icon and fullback, okay? So now let's go to the template here and let's actually add the class fullback here, okay? Save this, go back to the style sheet, and here let's put background white, okay? Save this and go back to the application, okay? And here we now see that these don't have white backgrounds. That's good. Let's go and click on add. Let's add example and example.com. Okay, cool. All right, so here, this one does have the white background. Nice. Cool. All right, so now let's go and style this a little bit more. Let's give this a border radius of 50% to make it round. So save this and go back to the application. And let's add example.com here. Okay, so now it's round. That's good. And let's change the font size. So font size should be around 20 pixels. And let's also set the font weight. Font weight should be 600, okay? Save that and go back to the application. Cool, all right. Let's now actually change the background color. Let's set this to RGBA 45, 48, 53. And the alpha value will be 0.7. Okay, save that and go back to the application. Okay, so that is a dark background. So let's actually set the color to hashtag F5, F7, F8. Okay, save that and let's go back to the application. Okay, and there we go. Cool. Cool, all right. We could also maybe make this a little bit bigger. So what we could do is we could actually make tile icon here, this class here, 40 pixels by 40 pixels, 40, 40. Okay, save that and let's go back to the application. Okay, and if we go here and add example.com, there we go, that's much nicer. Cool. Cool, alright, so I think the next thing we can do is we could actually work on creating notifications. So for example, when we create a bookmark, it would be cool to show the user a small little notification on the right hand side that says something like successfully created bookmark, or that says something like successfully created bookmark. Or when we go to the manage bookmarks UI, and we can go here, and when we save the bookmark, it would be nice to have a notification that says bookmark saved, right? So let's go and work on that.